So The Flash followed up Family Matters Part 1 with Family Matters Part number 2. Tee-hee, get it? Can you guess what resolved the whole problem with all these different forces at war with one another? Well, mostly Speed Force against all the others. Did you guess love? You were right. Love saved the day. Yeah. We even got Killer Frost and her bartender boyfriend, although, boy, I tell you, the outfit he's wearing in this episode, is he trying to tell us something? It looked like, a superhero outfit designed by Liberace. So, anyway, they just slapped that in there. It doesn't really matter. The forces supposedly were all killed off in the last episode, but that turned out to be an illusion by Psyche, who, since he wasted most of his time being a psychopathic monster terrorizing people with their own fears, it turns out he had other powers and he could do illusions of any sort. It didn't have to revolve around people's personal fears or anything. So they were able to psych out Nora. Yeah. And, but, she wouldn't take her long to figure that out. I mean, she's supposed to be some sort of god. So, I don't know what she does in between. She zips in and then she's gone. Then she comes back, whatever. I guess she went shopping or something. So Barry's got to hide him, and he hides him in the past within the Speed Force when it was dead. So, even when it's dead, it still exists. It's just, I guess, a dead dimension or something, but it still occupies some sort of space. And there's the replica of his childhood home there that now looks like a haunted house. So he says, hey, you'll be safe here, and leaves them there along with Iris. But he leaves them with this little recall device that once activated will zip them right back to Central City. So okay, so he's racing around and talking to Chester and Cisco to come up with a solution. They really can't. And he finds Dion, who suddenly he also is no longer a bad guy, for plot purposes. He's suddenly a nice guy who's just a little troubled. And he feels bad about having killed those people. But he still doesn't want to help Barry, so he disappears again. Nora then shows up, tells Barry, hey, I'm going to kill everybody in Central City if you don't hand over the forces. And Barry's like, oh no. And at one point, Joe's like, just do it anyway. And he said, that's not who we are, or something like that. Joe's feeling depressed because he's no longer a police officer. He was 5 minutes ago, but then he quit because of the corruption with What's-Her-Face. And but now he's deeply depressed about it because, he can't go 5 minutes without it. And there's a jailbreak. You never see any of it except for the fight between Killer Frost and her bi-curious boyfriend. So they just do a repeat of what they did in the previous episode. And they don't really use their cold powers because that's too expensive. So once again, they do this sort of martial arts fight, like a dance, which is pretty much what it was. And that's it. And they goo-goo-eye each other and all that. So Nora, thank God she disappears all the time. Otherwise, it might have been trouble. She pops back in. And what the hell? Oh, yeah. So Psyche and what's her name? Alexa, the She-Hulk lady. They zap back out because they decide we need to take on Nora. Okay, they could have all this time, but so they head back to Central City, and Nora confronts Barry, and Barry's like, you can't destroy the city with this storm. There's this big lightning storm going on. That's how the jailbreak happened. Okay, sorry. I know you're upset that I'm not keeping this in order. Crap, what did she do? Oh, she says, that's not me, Barry, that's the forces. So, without even wanting to, the forces are creating storms all over the place. It doesn't make any sense, really. They don't really bother to explain anything. And so they fight. They have a CGI battle within the Speed Force. But Nora is the Speed Force, but they're inside the Speed. Yeah, I don't know. So they sort of lose, I guess. And then there's this big giant funnel cloud of lightning and crap. And Barry's like, I got to stop it. So he goes and runs around it really super fast. But it's not enough. So the forces decide to fight each other. And basically, Dion puts Nora into, I guess, a fake dimension. I don't know. Or into a possible future where she killed everybody. And the funny thing is, so she's in the middle of Central City and there's no one there. And she's all alone. And she starts crying and stuff. This is worse than death. I don't want to be alone. So then they bring her back and she's all crying and says, please forgive me. I don't want to be alone. And then they step forward and tell her, you don't have to be alone. You could be a family with us. See, love found a way. It sure did. It sure did. It apparently never occurred to Nora that if she kills everybody, she'd be alone. So anyway, yeah, love wins. And they give Barry a boost to defeat the storm, funnel, cloud, lightning thing, whatever. But it's caused by them, so couldn't they just flip it off and Barry wouldn't have to do anything? Yeah, whatever. It didn't. So there, everyone's happy. And now they're all going to live with crazy Nora in the Speed Force inside the replica of Barry's childhood home, which is now all cleaned up. It doesn't look like a haunted house anymore. So there's that. But still, Nora was the one who was an elementary force, or an elemental force of the cosmos turned into a woman, whereas the others were human beings who were imbued with the elemental forces. But whatever, they're now going to have to spend the rest of eternity living with this woman with a deep psychosis. So, well, good luck with that. They were all messed up anyway, except Alexa. She seemed to be the most normal of the bunch. She just had a bad history with drug addiction. But, well, you're stuck now. So, and then Killer Frost, well, she gets probation because they suddenly decided, she saves people, and she caught the other ice guy, who's also her boyfriend. And they decided to give her probation. That whole episode and all this, and bound and determined to lock her up and everything. It's fine now. This show's so lazy and so stupid. Oh, man. So she goes back to Caitlin, I guess, they're roommates and all that. And she says, tee-hee, I got a boyfriend, and and of course it's the guy who, well, that outfit really speaks to something else. But, good luck, Frost, good luck. So, and then finally, after all this, because Barry and Iris saw themselves as the parents of the cosmic forces, and they were their children. This inspires them. Hey, we need to try to make babies. They'd already met their future daughter from a timeline that now no longer exists, but as I understood it, they still remembered her. You would think something like that would encourage them. Let's try anyway, and we'll bring her back in her. But of course, this is that's all forgotten, and this is to be a setup for Impulse. And Barry actually, she's like, let's get to work on starting our family. And Barry says, I like that Impulse. Tee-hee, get it? So, of course, their son from the future will be showing up, and they've already shown promo images of him in the Impulse outfit. And, of course, it's race swap, but then that's because Iris was race swapped from the beginning, so it stands to reason. Impulse wouldn't look like the Impulse from the comics. But in the comics, he was Barry's grandson. Well, that's kind of a problem. Because I don't know if they solidified it completely that Nora was lesbian. Perhaps she's bisexual, so then, I guess she could have had a son. But she doesn't exist anymore, so they're just going to scrap all that. they'll give him the outfit, but he'll be Barry's son, not his grandson. So that's so far the differences. We'll see how that plays out. Some have suggested in Rumorville that he is to replace the Flash, because Grant Gustin will do one more season and then split. I don't know. I mean, a guy from the future and all that sort of stuff. I'm thinking for sure the 8th season will be the final season of the Flash. CW's in a lot of trouble. The best they've got going for him is the Superman show and the Stargirl. As far as the superheroes go, Walker was their popular show, but they've all plummeted in ratings recently. So I just don't know how long they can keep this going. But it's too bad. The Flash used to be a really good show, as I've said a million times now, but it is no more. And I guess they're just going to wait till it collapses on its own instead of putting it out of its misery. Yeah, it should have ended several seasons ago, but that's not how it will turn out. It's already too late to give it a good ending. So, yeah. Anyway, I think Cisco's leaving next episode, so probably stayed on too long too. You know, he was one of the best characters in it, but yeah, it's time to bow out.
Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.